Welcome to Dementia-Friendly Prince George's County, Maryland Northern Sector webinar series for caregivers. Today's topic is Dealing with Loss, presented by Estella Etta and sponsored by the Prince George's County government and the Department of Family Services.
Thank you so much for having me. Um, it's a pleasure to share with you what I have read and know about dealing with loss. I know you've wondered sometimes and ask yourself questions as to why maybe you're still grieving a loss that you had 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Um, it is very clear that loss is something that happens to everyone. It's like the rain that falls on every roof. So the only answer to it is getting more information and being able to handle it the way that is best to be able to take it from point A to point B and to deal with it in a way that will help you share like a testimony with some other person or be a solution to some other person's problem. So what is loss? Loss let's go to slide 1. Loss is a state of no longer having something or having less of it, and this include physical, emotional, or economic. It involves the deprivation, detriment, or failure to keep something, e.g., loss of life and loss of property. So in deprivation, it involves the act of losing control over something or something being ruined. With emotional, there is the experience of bereavement, such as the death of a loved one. And economically, it deals with loss of finances, property, or source of livelihood. Next slide, please. Historically, psychological frameworks viewed loss primarily through the lens of terminal detachment. Early 20th century models, such as Sigmund Freud's mourning theory, emphasize grief work to sever emotional ties with the deceased. Modern grief theory rejects total detachment, focusing instead on integration and meaning. Slide 3, please. In this sense, we can view grief in dual process model where individuals move back and forth between processing loss and restoration oriented life changes. So if you're going between this, it is just a normal way of grieving. Continuing bonds, which defines a healthy adaptation that involves maintaining an evolving internalized relationship with the lost entity. For instance, your mom suddenly is not able to communicate well, and suddenly she becomes incontinent, and suddenly she becomes totally in need of care. You know, so that bond that you had with your mom, it begins to shift, and you begin to experience grief. Now we go to the next part that says disenfranchised grief, a situation where society often fails to recognize or acknowledge the complications or recovery from non-death losses like divorce, job loss, or chronic illness. In society, definitely sometimes people don't look at all of these other aspects, divorce, job loss, chronic illness as real loss. You know, people sometimes focus only on the loss of a loved one or death. Let me call it that way. But that's why sometimes society don't understand when somebody is grieving the loss in a sense where you have chronic illness or maybe your job or maybe a situation where you're going through a nasty divorce. Next slide, please. Our focus will be on the loss of a loved one. While grieving is a loss, while grieving a loss is inevitable part of life, there are ways to help cope with the pain, come to terms with your grief, and eventually find a way to pick up the pieces and move on with your life. Because grieving, and when it happens, is not ever the end of life, and it will never be the end of life. So that's why we have all this information. I've tried to read around and get some of this information. Next slide, please. You cannot tell how you feel when someone dies. This is true even when you have known for a while that they are going to die, right? So whether it happened like a shock or it happens gradually and you know that this person is going to die, you can't tell how somebody feels about it. Everybody has their own personal way of feeling about this loss. In the first minutes or hours, you may have different feelings and emotions, and that is normal. There is no right or wrong way to behave at a time like this. You may also go into a shock or feel numb. You may feel disbelief and think that what's happened is not real, or feel relief at first if the person had been in pain, or if caring for them had become difficult, or it could be because you had a complicated relationship with them. So I think we're focusing on those who have family members that have dementia. And with this paragraph here, there are different ways that you will grieve when this person like finally dies and is gone. If you are feeling upset but someone else seems to be okay, that doesn't mean they are less upset than you or that there is something wrong with you. It's only because grief is different for everyone. People process it in different ways and at different times. Now, I have seen a situation where there was a loss, and there was this family member who their reaction was a little bit different from everyone. Everyone was screaming, but they were silent. But eventually, when they came to the viewing, this person that was so silent became now the more emotional among all of them. So you see how grief works. Everybody have their grief differently. They process it differently. So let's go to the next slide. What is grief? We're talking about dealing with loss. When we deal with loss, what we find is grief. What comes is grief. So that's the aspect of loss that people work on and they have to process. Grief is the anguish experienced after significant loss, usually the death of a beloved person. Grief often includes psychological distress, separation, anxiety, confusion, yearning, obsessive dwelling on the past, and apprehension about the future. Intense grief can become life-threatening, though, excuse me, intense grief can become life-threatening through disruption of the immune system, self-neglect, and suicidal thoughts. So watch out for this. Grief may also take the form of regret or something lost, regret for something lost, remorse for something done, or sorrow for a mishap to oneself. Next slide, please. We're going to talk about stages of grief. When there is a loss, people start grieving. Stage one of grief is denial. After a tragic loss, it is easy first to feel in denial. You might have found yourself saying, "This can't be real," or "This is just a bad dream." Denial is a normal first feeling after a major traumatic event, and it helps our brain process the grief more slowly because the brain is very complex, and so the brain cannot just take it. It begins with denial. Next slide, please. Stage two, anger. When the reality of loss sets in, it is common to feel upset and angry at your circumstances, yourself, and at God. Thoughts of, "I can't believe they would do this," or "How could God let this happen?" can overwhelm you. Oftentimes, you can Oftentimes it can be easier to feel anger than sadness or pain. So we'll feel anger instead at the injustice of the situation. Next slide, please. Bargaining. Sometimes we start to question why a tragedy happened and say things like, "if only," or "what if." These statements make us feel like we could have done something differently or controlled our situations, even when we couldn't. You may even find yourself bargaining with God to try and change the situation. So I believe that at this stage, it takes a really long time when people begin to bargain. Like there's a lot of questioning back and forth, like you're trying to find out, talk with God or talk with, yeah, with yourself, and begin maybe blame yourself and feel that maybe you didn't do the right thing. You should have done things another way, and things shouldn't have happened that way. I mean, let's go to the next slide. Depression. So after denial, anger, and bargaining, and you seem not to have answers, then depression sets in. Depression is often the lowest point we hit when we experience grief. The feelings of being hopeless, trapped, confused can feel a rock on your chest. Depression is when we face our deepest pain and grief. It is but it isn't the end of the journey. So depression is like you are in a rock bottom where you've tried to bargain, tried to you've been angry, you denied, you try to bargain, and things are not going the way they don't seem to go that way, and then it all sets on you, and you get down, you go right down to the stage of depression. So the good news is at that stage you begin to realize that there are things you can't change. And we go to the next stage, which is the next slide, please. Acceptance. Grief may feel unending, and pain often never fully goes away. But when we learn to accept what happened to us, we can move on and process all our messy emotions. Our acceptance doesn't erase what happened, but it means that our painful emotions and unfair circumstances don't need to control us anymore. So, for those who are going through some grief and you've come to terms with the situation, acceptance tells you you can move on with your life. At that point, you can pick the pieces together, do what you gotta do, and then move on again with life because life doesn't end with a loss. Let's go to the next slide, please. Grief isn't something you can fix, it is a natural response when we know someone is upset to want to fix things for them. Following the death of a loved one, however, the reality is that you can't fix their grief. There is nothing you can say that will make a bereaved person feel better about their loss. But there are things you can do to provide support, comfort and support for them during this difficult time. Next slide, please. Let's go to how the brain copes with grief. Number one, recognize the difference between grief and depression. Acknowledge the pain that comes with grief, and that grief is a completely natural way to respond to the death of someone important to you. There is no right or wrong way to grieve, and it feels different for everyone. Each time that we grieve in our lifetime, it feels different too. You can tell that if you lost someone in the year 2020 and you lost someone in this year 2025 past, the grief that you felt for them is different. It is not always the same. You might find out that there are some things you can relate to or that your experience is different, and that's okay. Next slide, please. How the brain copes with grief. Grief is not just one feeling, but a combination or series of emotions that accompany one another, but not in a specific order. You may feel sad, you may feel shock, numb, anxious, agitated, relieved, guilty, calm, angry, purposeless, or more, or even less than is on this list. Feelings may also range from up and down waves, lack of orientation, waves or bursts that you are not expecting, leaving you worried and embarrassed or scared. But remember that everyone's reaction tends to be different when someone they care about dies. Next slide, please. Comments to avoid when someone's grieving. Telling them, you'll get married again one day. Or at least you have your other children. Or you tell them, she's lucky she lived to such a ripe old age. Or you say, it was God's will. Or you can always try for another baby. Or he's happy in heaven. Or you tell the person, be thankful they're not in pain anymore. Or you say, try to remember the good times. Those comments are comments to avoid because they're not going to help the grieving person. No, not ever. More comments to avoid. Next slide. Next slide, please. Comments to avoid. Saying to the person, you'll feel better soon. Telling them, time heals all wounds. Or tell them, count your blessings. You still have a lot to be grateful for. Or you say, you've got to pull yourself together and be strong. I know exactly how you feel. Everything happens for a reason. It is a natural reaction. Okay, now, it is a natural reaction to want to ease the person's pain. However, well-meaning words that encourage the bereaved to look on the bright side can be hurtful. Yep, it can be hurtful. Why? Because at that time, there's a lot of going on in their brain. Next slide. Approaches to avoid with a bereaved person. Approaches to avoid include telling them about your grief experience instead of listening to them, comparing their grief with yours or anyone else's, telling them they're grieving in the wrong way, giving them unsolicited advice about how they can best get over their grief, reasoning with them about how they should or shouldn't feel. Next slide, please. Strategies for coping with grief. C1, strategy 1. Choose not to try to use alcohol, cigarette, gambling, or drugs to calm down your emotional pain. Avoid the pain you feel. Hide yourself. Choose not to avoid the pain you feel. Choose not to hide yourself away from friends or family. Yes, hide yourself from friends and family. Next, focus on things. Choose not to focus on things you cannot change. Accept that grief can trigger many different and unexpected emotions. Understand that your grief process will be unique to you. C2. Next slide. Choose not to focus on regrets, choices you've made, or past actions you've taken. Choose not to make major life-changing decisions. Major life-changing decisions like you decide to sell the house because you lost somebody and you're not willing to stay in that house again. Or you decide to move to another city. Choose not to try to do everything at once. Set small targets that you can easily achieve. One, because your brain is already a place of work. You're already grieving and your brain is already doing a lot of work. So you can't just try to do all things at once. Okay, what you can choose to do. Next slide. Choose to accept your feelings. How you feel is unique to you, not everyone. Choose to take care of yourself and your family. Choose to remember and celebrate the lives of your loved ones. Choose to support yourself emotionally by taking care of yourself physically, because grieving can make you to neglect self-care. C, to connect. Next slide, please. Connect with peer support, where people use their experience to help each other. Create room for useful information, coping mechanism, and working ideas. Talk about the loss with friends and loved ones. Reach out to help others going through loss. Seek out face-to-face support from people who care about you. Next slide, please. C3, communicate. Write a letter to the deceased loved one. Journal about positive memories. Talk to someone. Lend a supportive ear to others. Take care of yourself while you're grieving. Grief can be raw, painful, messy. It is important during times of grief to take care of yourself. Self-care is a crucial part of the healing process and can help ease the suffering of the mind, body, and spirit. As every individual's grief is unique, so is their pain path to healing from a loss. What works for someone else may not work for you, and that's okay. Am I slow? Find what find what self-care tips work for you. Take care of yourself while grieving, mentally and emotionally. Be kind to yourself. Grief can be cruel. Grief, give yourself the love and respect you deserve. Talk kindly to yourself and allow yourself to grieve in the time and ways that you need. Give yourself words of encouragement. Don't let your own mind hurt you further. Reflect on meaningful ways to show yourself kindness. Take care of yourself while you grieve. Allow yourself to really feel what you need to feel. There is no right or wrong feeling during grief. You may feel numb, angry, empty, depressed, confused, etc. You may also feel relief, comfort, joy. Whatever you're feeling is okay. Take care of yourself while grieving. Schedule something that brings you joy every day, whether it's baking, music, art, praying, or reading. Find something that brings you happiness and make it a priority every single day. Take care of yourself while you grieve. Sorry, we've gone too far. Like we're on slide number 4 of take care of yourself while you grieve. Slide number 4. Thank you. Take care of yourself while you grieve. Talk it out. It's important to talk to others, but it doesn't have to be everyone. It doesn't always have to be about your grief. But if you hide your grief, your body may start to express it for you. Slide number 5. Take care of point 5, sorry, point 5. Take care of yourself while grieving. Express your emotions. Find a meaningful, healthy outlet for you to let out your emotions. This could be through art, journal, music, exercise. Find something that you feel gives you the opportunity to release your emotion and stick with it. Next slide. Take care of yourself while grieving. Don't set a timeline for yourself. Grief is not linear. There is no time frame for how long you should grieve. Remind yourself that grief come and go, and you have the right to take the time you need. Take care of yourself while you grieve. The next slide. Communicate what you do and do not need. What you do and do not need. It's okay to want to be alone. It's okay to want to visit or linger or to linger. It's okay to say no. It's okay to ask for help and be specific about what you need from your support system. Let those around you try to support you. Those around you trying to support you know what you're comfortable with. Next slide. Take care of yourself while grieving. Physical touch. Physical contact can be transformative for healing. A simple hug, holding hand or arms around someone can be soothing. If this isn't you, it's okay to say no to these gestures. Next slide, please. Take care of yourself while grieving. Laugh when you can. Laughter is like medicine for the body and the soul. It is shown to release stress, reducing chemicals in the brain. Don't feel guilty for having times of happiness and laughter. This doesn't mean you love or miss the person any less. Take care of yourself while you grieve. The next slide. Make time to grieve. Pushing your grief deep down and not addressing it won't allow you to heal. Don't busy yourself too much trying to bury your grief. Take care of yourself while you grieve. Next slide. Get your sleep. Your body needs an ample amount of rest to heal. Give yourself the sleep you need to allow your body and mind to recover. Take care of yourself while you're grieving. Awaken your senses. Expose yourself to a variety of sensory activities that bring you comfort. For example, taste or smell. Taste or smell different foods. Feel soft fabrics. Smell flowers. Sit by the water. Watch the sunset. Tune into your senses to find what brings you the most comfort. Take care of yourself while you grieve, while grieving. Nourish your body with healthy foods. Your mind is experiencing trauma. Replenish your body and mind with nutritious food and plenty of water so that you can heal properly. Take care of yourself while you grieve, while grieving. Make a routine. After a loss, your life is going to change. It may be helpful for you to try a new routine to help yourself deal with all the changes. Eventually, you will find your new normal. So I listened, let me just say this one. I listened to a young man who just went through a divorce, and he it was really difficult for him because they usually do things, two of them, and they go out, two of them, they go to places, two of them, they go to the market, they go to places, and they go to the golf, two of them, and he had to start practicing doing it by himself. So it took a while, but you know, eventually he came out of the grief. He could be able to get a routine for himself, make a routine. Next, take care of yourself while grieving. Breathe. Next one, breathe. Intentionally focus on your breathing can be beneficial during a time when you feel you are losing control. Yeah, it's true about breathing because your breathing can change when you are going through a grief. It can really, really change. So you need to take time to breathe. Breathing mindfully and other forms of meditation can give you a sense of control of your body and mind. Take care of yourself while grieving. Next slide. Move your body. Move your body. Exercise is calming for both mind and body. Go for a walk, do yoga, do biking, run, or even clean the house. Whatever form of movement you enjoy, do that. Hygiene still matters. Don't forget to care for your body. Take a shower or a hot bath. Brush your teeth. Doing these simple things for yourself can help you feel refreshed and can also be a win for the day. Even if you don't do anything else that day, you can feel like you accomplished something. Next slide. Take care of yourself while you're grieving. See your doctor. When you're grieving after a loss, your immune system is also suffering. Make sure you're not ignoring your health. Take a pause to take care of your health. Doesn't mean taking a pause to take care of your health doesn't mean you don't miss uh, them. Fresh air. Not only can being outside bring you joy, breathing fresh air provides the body with more oxygen. More oxygen means more energy and greater clarity of mind. Okay, we're almost done. Take care of yourself while grieving. Let light in. Don't let yourself get too comfortable inside in a dark room. Open the curtains, go outside, and embrace the sunlight. This information was compiled by a variety of sources, including Lourdes Hospital Self-Care Tips While Grieving, Center for Loss, Nurturing Yourself When You're Grieving, Understanding Your Grief by Alan, It's Okay That You're Not Okay by Megan. Thank you. So, takeaways. Let me just read this part. Takeaways. Grief is a natural reaction to various kinds of loss. You may have different feelings that come and go in any order. There is no right or wrong way to grief. It's different for everyone. There are many kinds of grief. There are 5 stages of grief that can be used to help understand loss. Grief can cause physical and emotional symptoms. There is professional help and support available for coping with grief. Remember, we're dealing with loss, and grief is what accompanies loss. Thank you so much for listening.
In partnership with the Alzheimer's Foundation of America, we are offering free confidential memory screenings for adults who would like to better understand their cognitive health. These screenings are one-on-one. They're private, they're informational, and a caring first step. It's not a diagnosis. Available at 15 Crescent Road, Greenbelt, Maryland, starting Tuesday, February 10th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And to schedule an appointment, you can just call me at 240-241-0037. And remember that early detection and awareness matters, and we encourage you to take advantage of this free service or share it with someone who may benefit.
Can you send that on email for me?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Yep. And we also invite you to consider a dementia friend and being partnership with being one through a short online training. You can learn how dementia affects daily life, how it improves communication and support skills, how it helps create a more inclusive and understanding community.
Okay.
And it only takes a short time to complete, and you'll receive a certain certificate upon completion, and you can register at dfaamerica.org.